This is breaking news from Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, the man arrested after a tense standoff on the northeast side is linked to the Zionsville murder and the recent attacks on IMPD. He just surrendered peacefully after holding his infant son inside his apartment and refusing to come out, even firing shots at officers. Sharper 13 HD shows the huge response at the scene from police and emergency crews.
IMPD and Homeland Security were there today for hours trying to negotiate that peaceful ending. And this is all taking place at the Peppermill Farms apartments near Shadeland Avenue and Millview Drive.
We have team coverage tonight on this huge breaking story involving 3 major unsolved cases. But we begin with Eyewitness News reporter Rich Van Wyk and a look at how all of this started. Rich?
John, just a few moments ago we spoke with IMPD Police Chief Troy Riggs. He said this was a very complicated, very dangerous situation, and we're going to try to talk you through it because it is both of those. However, for right now, the danger has passed. First of all, police are pleased that the incident here ended as peacefully as it did. The police who showed up at the door of Peppermill Apartments today came armed with a search warrant, and they had questions about other crimes. That's when they say the gunman fired shots through the door at the police. As more police arrived, SWAT, fire, and EMS services arrived, more shots were fired, all as the man held his small child hostage. The police, by all appearances, exercised patience and restraint as they worked with him, negotiated with him, and then he gave his child over to police. He surrendered peacefully, and he handed his child over to the police. This is how Troy Riggs described the situation here.
And a lack of respect for life. It's something that we've seen in this incident. Quite frankly, it's something we see once in a while throughout the city far too often. That's why we're working so much on the social issues that are leading to crime in our community. But let me just say today, I think our detectives and our officers, especially those SWAT officers, acted bravely. They put themselves in harm's way. They did not return fire, mostly because they knew that there was a young child inside. And at the end of the day, we were able to get the person we were focused on, place him under arrest, work with his family, but we've also been able to retrieve that child and return that to loved ones as well.
Police are not releasing the name of the suspect arrested here officially. Sources, though, tell me that is the person wanted or now under arrest for the murder of John Clemens in Zionsville. That was just a little over a month ago. Damon Wilcoxon in Boone County was charged with that murder late this afternoon, and by all appearances, he was arrested here in Indianapolis. Wilcoxon is also accused of holding a high-powered rifle and threatening his girlfriend with that rifle. He is also suspected of shooting up 2 of IMPD's North District headquarters, one on the northeast side, one on the northwest side. The police describe him as a very dangerous man. They believe they are very fortunate to get him under arrest and the situation peacefully here without anyone else getting hurt. David McAnally, you've been talking to people who live and work in the areas. What kind of stories are they telling this evening?
And we just talked to the aunt of Damian Wilcoxon, the suspect here. She says no way could he be responsible for something like this. She just thinks he was having a bad day. I said to her, well, what about his allegedly firing at police coming in the door? Let's go to some audio that we have with this person a few minutes ago.
Talked to him, but they just wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us go in. None of his family members, they wouldn't let us go back there to try to talk to him.
Were you talking with him on the phone?
No, he cut his phone off, so we couldn't talk to him over the phone. So
what do you think happened here?
They was going to serve a warrant, and he just had a moment. That's all. You know, he's not no bad kid. I got a good nephew. He's not bad. You know, it's just one of them days. Every teenager or young boy have their moments at times, and this was one of them days. He just didn't feel like it.
Damian's stepfather said the same thing a couple of minutes ago, that he's not that kind of person. He says, ask the police, they'll tell you that's not true, etc. But of course, we're hearing something very different from the court records. We'll have more at 6 o'clock from the stepfather.
David, you and I are going to be busy trying to sort this out before we see our viewers and you, John, later at 6. We'll be back with you and continue to check into the story.
All right, thank you, Rich Van Wyk and David McAnally reporting tonight. Now, this arrest obviously becomes as a huge relief to the people in Zionsville after waiting more than a month to get answers about the murder of an 82-year-old man.
Our own Jenny Runovich is live tonight in that neighborhood with how police connected this man to that case in Zionsville. Jenny?
Well, Andrea, you remember this really shook the neighborhood here back in September when the 82-year-old man who lived in the house back there was shot in the middle of the day. He was outside in his driveway. He was shot with a high-powered rifle, and the person who shot him was on the loose. That was very frightening for people who lived in this neighborhood. John Clements, 82 years old, who died back on Wednesday, September 28th. Now, I can tell you I've just been looking at the probable cause charging information from the Boone County prosecutor about this case just within the last 10 minutes. So I'll give you some of the details as to how they connected this suspect, Wilcoxon, with Mr. Clements' murder. First of all, I can tell you that they say that DNA was key in this case and working with other agencies was key in this case. Right after Mr. Clements was murdered, police say that Zionsville dash cam video actually captured footage of the same vehicle that residents in this area, witnesses, saw fleeing the scene, a white Chevy Impala. That dash cam video really became helpful. They saw it leaving the scene as Zionsville police were coming here to investigate the murder. Well, then, Rich Van Wyk mentioned that this is also connected to the two district headquarters for IMPD that were shot up, one on October 4th, one on October 13th. That connected here as well, and here's how. Police say they analyzed the shell casings that were found in the driveway when Mr. Clements was shot. They compared those to the shell casings found at the scene of both Northwest and North District headquarters. All three were a match. Also, what helped them in this case, there were notes left at the scene of those shootings at the district headquarters, and police say that they compared the handwriting on those notes as well as some DNA, a fingerprint that they found. They put that into a system to check on that DNA, and it actually came back to a person out of an Ohio registry, and that was Wilcoxon. He was convicted of robbery in Ohio. So now they had a name, this 21-year-old man who then they looked in their own system and discovered that he actually was wanted from a July case in Indianapolis from IMPD. In that case, it was pointing a firearm allegedly at his girlfriend in a moving car. They had a young child together. Of course, that person involved in that standoff, there was a young baby in that apartment as well. So they collected the fingerprints, the DNA, the shell casings. Then they also looked at Mr. Wilcoxon's Facebook profile. He apparently had a separate name that he used on Facebook. And in that Facebook profile, he wrote a lot of derogatory, how they described derogatory comments that matched similar thoughts that were mentioned in those notes left at IMPD North District and Northwest District during the shooting, including kill mankind and multiple derogatory comments. Also, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. So all of those things combined pointed at Wilcoxon and ended up getting him arrested during that standoff today. He does now face a murder charge for the homicide here in Zionsville of Mr. Clements, and we are expecting charges likely involved in those shootings at IMPD North District and Northwest District headquarters as well. Of course, this is a story we will continue to follow. Plan to talk to the neighbors here as well. I'm sure it is a big relief to know that the alleged killer in this case has been caught. More on this coming up on Eyewitness News. For now, back to you.
So much to sort out. Jenny